What's up, everybody? Aaron the Dog here, live with Coffee and KOs, and as always, I'm here with Bryan Pooh Bear Battle,
Back and better than ever, baby.
middleweight contender. Eventually, we'll be saying where your next fight is at. We're working that through, though, as is always. The MMA game is fluid and ever changing. But how you doing tonight, Bryan?
I'm doing good, man. Like you said, I mean, the MMA game's keeping me on my toes, keeping me alert. No rest for the wicked in this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's always something. Always, at least if you're trying to fucking actually do something. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, man. Ready to talk about these fights, though.
Yeah. We're here to cover UFC on ABC2, so it's starting at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. First of all, it's UFC from Vegas 23. UFC from Vegas 22 is headlined by Kevin Holland and Derek Brunson. 23 is headlined by Kevin Holland and Marvin Vettori. Kevin Holland coming in on short notice after Vettori originally was slated for Darren Till. And then Darren Till had a collarbone injury that some people are saying he could fight with, other people are saying
I mean, that's a collarbone.
Yeah, and it's a 5-round main event title contender.
Against Marvin Vettori. Yeah, if I had a broken collarbone, I'd probably sit
those
down.
people are probably not fighting themselves.
Yeah, 110%.
Yeah, which I don't fight myself, but I'm also not telling people when they're injured about it. But either way, I think that we're kind of left with a little bit of a predictable main event. Not to spoil getting ahead here, but it's almost impossible if you're really going with how both these guys have fought and everything to predict the fight any differently. Other than that, MMA is wild. It's unpredictable. Anything can happen. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yes, sir. The main event.
Yeah, I'm not counting out Kevin Holland by any means. But at the same point, this is about as bad of a matchup as you can have.
Yeah, you're not counting him out, but you're not. We won't, like we said. I'm not going to say anything yet because that's we gotta. People gotta put their time in.
We got a lot of time here tonight. 15 fight card. We've got the Bellator card going on tomorrow night on Showtime, headlined by Machida and Bader. Already did that breakdown yesterday with Brandon for MMA Wagers. Absolutely killed it on that. So I've been really happy working with him on LFA and Bellator and having good results. Working with you on UFC has been killing it as well. So I think without further ado, let's go ahead and get into fight 1 of 15 tonight, starting at noon. I believe is the early prelims. The early prelims might be starting earlier than that, but I'm pretty sure they start at noon.
That's such an annoying time for it to start at.
Well, especially if you're, a professional fighter and like exercising and shit. I can adjust my schedule and eat a little bit earlier and smoke a little bit earlier and be all set for it. So
and just be chilling like a villain.
Yeah, exactly. It's just gonna be done a little bit earlier, and then we'll have the recap show here afterwards as usual, I believe, as well. But first fight of the night, interesting one. It's at 170 pounds. And what up, Kevin? Thank you for joining us. This is at 170 pounds. Again, 170 pounds. Impa Kasagane, who, needless to say, Bryan has some experience with at 185. Taking on Sasha Polaknikov. Sasha Polaknikov 6-2 versus the 8-1 Kasagane. So similar experience, although Impa has a lot more amateur experience, but as pros, pretty similar experience. Sasha Polaknikov coming off a very impressive debut on short notice against Louis Koski, who we don't really know how good he is. He was only 7-0 at the time, pretty untested, but he took a lot of shots against Koski in that first round and ended up coming back and winning the first round after nearly being finished himself. And then after that, second round, he looked really good. Third round, he got the finish. Prior to that, not super tested, but I mean, good size, 6'1", 170, former football player, as is Impa. Impa coming down from 185. This is his first fight since the Joaquin Buckley. highlight in a fight where he was kind of going back and forth before that as well. It wasn't just one of these where it was one shot. Before that, his Maki Pitolo fight, I think he was looking a little bit out physical, even against Maki Pitolo, who's not even a true middleweight at this point. So I do think this was coming. I'm curious if it would have been coming regardless of the result of the last fight. He did. Impa also did leave his gym in Jimmo, so I thought that was also interesting. Jimmo kind of went from this up and coming gym to all of a sudden everybody but Joe Selecki, I believe, is the only one who's still kind of stuck there from the main.
And he's not. He's more of a salty dog jiu-jitsu guy because he trains in Wilmington. But
okay. We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that in a minute. You're right.
Yeah, Impa now at Sanford MMA, however, and I do really like that. I think that one thing Impa has, for one, Impa does look a little bit green for the UFC still, in my opinion. Also looks a little bit timid, a little bit like he's holding something back. That's something I think Sanford could really help get out of him. So I do like the camp change coming down to 170. He should be the physically bigger, stronger guy, and speed-wise, I wouldn't imagine Polaknikov is a huge issue in that department for him. But at the same point, I think physically Polaknikov is a bigger 170er, so maybe that size advantage isn't even there at 170 for Impa. I'm not sure how he's going to look at weigh-ins. This is one that right now, with the odds, I'm leaning towards Polaknikov or pass, a dog or pass here. Just because I'll get to the odds in a moment, but the odds are pretty heavy for Impa. And for a 170 debut against a guy who has a good gas tank, he's tough, throws good offense himself, throws a lot of spinning stuff as well, which Impa has shown he's not a big fan of. A lot of it. So, yeah, it's dog or pass for me here. Without the odds, I think that I would ever so slightly think Impa is able to edge this out, but when the odds come in, I've got to go Polaknikov.
And I mean, just going off what you said, I mean, Impa during his professional career has kind of been like a decision Dan almost. You know what I'm saying? He's just kind of been grinding out. Ironically, though, only finishes got was against one of my teammates, Roger Pratcher. But even that fight, it was kind of like you said. It was very apparent who was the bigger middleweight in the fight. You know what I mean? When Impa was dropping down to 170, I was pretty afraid about the speed because he was quick for a middleweight, not super quick, but he was quick for a middleweight and dropping down to 170. Obviously, that's going to be a big speed change, but I don't think Sasha has, just looking at his striking, I don't think his strikes are going to be fast enough or powerful enough to really do anything that Impa hasn't seen yet. I see Impa grinding out a decision on this one. And then, like you said, I mean, if he's been training with Coach Hooft, you know what I'm saying? If he's been with Coach Hooft and he's learned how to, really let those multiple punch combinations go, we might see something from him that we haven't seen yet. So, I guess I'm going to go with the odds on this one and pick Impa. But, with these early fights, you really – because like you said, I mean, both these guys, they fought people in the UFC, but all those people they fought in the UFC are pretty suspect. So, you know what I mean? I'm picking Impa.
Yeah, it's one of these where you're picking Impa, but it's like Impa when we get the odds minus 300. So yeah, and his welterweight debut coming off a really rough loss not all that long ago, and switching up camps. Sasha Polaknikov again took everything that Louis Koski had to offer, and then ended up coming back and getting a big finish in the third round. He does switch up his stance. He's a little tricky with his stance. And throws some stuff that doesn't look good, but it will land. I mean, one of his hardest rights that landed, he kind of fell into him after it. So, again, this is just one of these low-level fights. With low-level fights, when I see the over plus 200, I bet it. That's just how I am with my bets. Plus 240 for Sasha Polaknikov, I'm betting it. And we'll see. I'm not going to bet it heavy. Again, it's not. A few of these early fights, I feel about 50-50 on, so I'm leaning towards the dog in all honesty, including the next one. So
the next one's a doozy too.
This is an interesting fight. At 205, between Daun Young, coming off a nasty split draw against Sam Alvey, where it was just, really disappointing. I was all over Young in that fight. I had him in a ton of parlays, and we felt lucky to get out of there with the draw because he that fight. Taking on William Knight, originally Shamil Gazmalov was supposed to be taking on Young. Now Knight is. Neither one of these guys is a really easy fight for Young, though, in my opinion. I'm going to start with William Knight, 9-1. We know him from the Contender Series. The Contender Series, he ended up winning and getting a developmental deal originally because he had a kind of a late third-round stoppage. Ended up fighting Tefan Nchukwu on the regional scene, which is just – that's tough luck. Ended up getting knocked out by Teflon.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody is right now or has been. So after they rebounded well. However, Rocky Edwards, kind of a journeyman, ended up being able to take down William Knight in that fight, made it a closer fight than he should have been. 12-9 and 1 at the time. Rocky Edwards was and pretty undersized. Came back, beat Cody Brundage, very good wrestling prospect. Beat Alexa Kammer on short notice. Again, good performance, but had some moments where he had his hands down, where he was kind of just fighting kind of reckless and like a guy who just it needs a little more seasoning. But at the same point, William Knight's 33, so I mean now is the time. He's taking advantage of it. He's going for it here. Daun Young, good boxer, good overall stand-up game, but kind of besides that, I haven't seen a whole lot that out of Young that like blows my mind. I get he had that standing guillotine against Ibrahimov, but that's Ibrahimov. I think this is one where Young should be the bigger guy and should be looking to be the aggressor. I think if he allows William Knight to kind of walk him down and be the first to be initiating the striking and grappling, William Knight, I think he'll win a decision in this one. I think it's going to a decision either way. I think this is one, in my opinion. So I'm going to take William Knight. I'm going to take my second. He's another dog. I did look that up. But he's a very slight dog. I think this is a really close fight. I just think William Knight's going to be a little more volume, a little more looking to mix it up with the takedowns. So,
well, yeah, man. I mean, this fight is interesting. I mean, to me, it kind of comes down to who is able to implement their size better. Like, is William going to be able to get in better? And because like you said, Dan, he likes to use his boxing. You know what I'm saying? He likes to get a little close. You know what I'm saying? If he can catch William coming in, because he does have nice boxing. He has nice, quick hands. He throws straight punches, so that could be dangerous for William coming in. I just think, it kind of like you said, like after watching his last fight, he can get hit. And I think, William might be more used to fighting taller guys and Young is used to fighting shorter guys. So I'm going with William Knight too. I'm going to take him by finish though. I think he's going to put the hands on him, I think. But I could also see it going the other way where William's trying to close the distance and in the middle of and just get like a counter shot, like right down the pipe. Just because I really do like his hands. He does throw nice combinations, but kind of he does wait a lot. He waits a lot, and I think that's kind of not in his best interest against William Knight.
Yeah. I just think this is one where both guys could be waiting a lot, potentially too. William Knight, I'm always kind of curious about how he gets down to 185 and how he's able to keep the gas tank going. And he's getting 33, 34 years old. And with that body type particularly, I think that's just not a older body type. That's a younger body. So we're gonna just have to see here. But I do think this is a very, very close fight. And I like the dog. So plus 120 for William Knight, which I'm pretty surprised about, minus 140 for Young. So my
So
second,
that's got to be the short notice.
yeah. And joining us finally, fashionably late, but Bunny herself. So how you doing? Yeah, this is a good first couple dogs for me to start out. You got Impa, I got Sasha, and then we both do have William Knight, second dog. And moves us on to the third fight. This is
Number 3, baby.
one that I am not as sure on. I'll be honest. Jordan Griffin fights are super difficult for me to predict. I just don't ever seem to get these right. I really did like him as he came into the UFC. And he's just kind of had a little bit of an up and down career. And then Luis Saldana, unfortunately, beat my boy Vince Murdoch, who I interviewed for Vince Murdoch ahead of that
Yeah.
fight. And if people aren't familiar with Vince Murdoch, he had a near aneurysm, I believe, in his brain, and ended up having like emergency brain surgery before he was originally signed to fight Jordan Griffin.
Yeah.
And then he ended up losing his contract, then getting back on the Contender Series. Good to hear. Thank you. Appreciate the feedback. And we're sounding good. That's good. Trust me. After yesterday's Bellator breakdown, nothing's a given. Thanks again, Julius, for being on. But it was not kind of hard to hear at some point. So good to hear that. But
Strong
Vince
Wi-Fi
Murdoch
is a must.
Yeah, but Vince Murdoch, got pieced up by Luis Saldana, and then in the third round, ended up getting put away. So this is Luis Saldana's UFC debut, going against Jordan Griffin, and Jordan Griffin is going to have the reach advantage in this fight. Luis Saldana had an 8-inch reach advantage against Vince Murdoch, so he's going from an 8-inch, or actually I believe a 10-inch reach advantage he had, to now having a 2 to 3-inch reach disadvantage in this fight. I know that Griffin's going to have the grappling advantage, in my opinion. And coming off he's coming off a kind of a rough run, but the guys he's losing to are Danny Gay-Chaskelly and Yusuf Zalal. I rate both of those guys higher than Saldana. Saldana's missing a finger. Shout out to that guy from, what was that? Was that CFFC last week that lost his finger in the fight? Did you see that?
I saw that. No, and then the guy still won the fight afterwards. It was amazing.
Yeah. I'm not going to put you on the spot here and ask what you would do if you lost a finger in a fight, but I know what I would do is I would not keep fighting. So
here's the thing: if that guy's keeping on fighting, I'm keeping on fighting. I'm not gonna let this guy out crazy me. I don't even know who I gotta be the craziest MMA fighter out here.
Well, they reattached it, but I don't care. Okay. Well, in case people are wondering which one of us was the fighter before saying that, I think now they know who the fighter is between the two of us.
It's all about that juicy cauliflower. You know what I'm saying? My body's already jacked up. That's a beautiful earlobe.
Look, these are such nice soft ears. Like I can lay on your chest. I won't hurt you. Not an offer. They did. Let's see. It limits eye pokes. Yeah, that's a good point, Zach. They found the finger in the glove. We'll get back to talking about Luis Saldana and Jordan Griffin in a moment here. Honestly, there's more to talk about with this missing finger than this fight for me. What it really comes down to, I think that Luis Saldana can really physically possibly body Jordan Griffin in this fight. And if he does, I look for Saldana to get the finish. Saldana gets quite a few finishes. I believe that of his 13 wins or 14 wins, I think 13 are by finish. So definitely, he can finish by most likely KO, though. I don't think he's going to be able to out-grapple and submit Griffin. And also, Griffin hasn't been finished by Ige, hasn't been finished by Skelly. 1 rounds off Ige, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like Juan Archuleta is another one of Griffin's losses. It's just like even Dan Moret, it's just Griffin doesn't lose to guys who are, not kind of top of the line guys. And I'm just not sure if Saldana is, and everybody is loving on Saldana that I've been watching. I'm going to take Griffin, man. I'm going to take Griffin to kind of play spoiler here. I could even see maybe after the third round when the bigger Saldana, who cuts more weight, and I think maybe has some more gas issues, gets tired and being able to sneak a submission. I think a Griffin third round finish bet and then a Griffin bet overall. Those are two bets I'm going to be making. So I'm going to take Jordan Griffin, man. I just think competition, experience, rhythm, all the way around. Griffin needs this fight. Griffin loses this fight, and it's snip, snip, snip. Saldana loses this fight, and he's in pretty much the same position on another card in a few months. So I just think all those things together. I did look at the odds, and again, it's close, but I got the dogs. So that's 3 straight dogs I have to open up the card, and it is what it is. But I'm gonna take Jordan Griffin. Saldana, I think, does have actually underrated power. Zach, I do know that he has volume as well, but he has with this many finishes, especially by strikes, you gotta have some power. But what are your thoughts here? You've got a debutant versus a guy who's been in the UFC for quite a while, earned his way in from the Contender Series in Griffin.
And I'll tell you what, this is a dangerous pick for me because this is when doing these breakdowns, I always fall in love with the guys who aren't in the UFC yet, who get a bunch of finishes, you know what I mean? As opposed to the old veteran, and Jordan Griffin's not even an old veteran, but he's a veteran compared to Saldana. And piggybacking what you said, Saldana's not necessarily a power puncher, but he cracks when he throws. You know what I'm saying? He's like a wiry kind of Hitman Hearns kind of puncher. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not like super powerful, but he throws it and penetrates good with those punches.
And if you hit a guy with a good kick or a knee, it doesn't matter how hard. Like if you're hitting him with your knees, and it's just like. Yeah, it's just,
that's all placement. You know what I'm saying? You could throw that slow as hell, but if they're coming into it and you put it in the right place, you know what I'm saying? It's game over.
But again, he does not have the reach advantage in this fight. Jordan Griffin has the reach advantage. Jordan Griffin is hard to hit. Jordan Griffin has 1 round off Dan Ige, 1 round off Chaz Skelly. Each one he didn't win rounds off, obviously, but still he won a round off Ige. You can't and that was not that long ago. Saldana does not face anybody in his realm. No offense to Vince Murdoch, but it was very clear when Vince Murdoch came back that it was done. So, yeah.
No, and it's just you can't compare mid-tier UFC competition with, high-tier, lower promotion competition. You just can't compare the two. But with all that saying, I'm still taking Saldana. I don't know. It's what my heart's telling me to do. That's what my heart's telling me to do.
We're disagreeing early here, man. I mean, this is a long card too. We got to ride out these disagreements. Disagreements are as important as agreements in any partnership. So it's fine. You got Saldana. Do you have the finish or decision?
I got him. I think he's gonna finish him. I do. I feel like Jordan's going to come out and he's going to throw some big, like you said, he's really explosive with his grappling. And I think, like you said, Saldana just being the bigger guy, even though he doesn't have the reach, just being the bigger guy. Yeah. I think that'll wear on him. Now, if it goes the other way, I wouldn't be mad if Jordan Griffin ended up wearing down Saldana. I'd be happier about that because, like you said, if our boy Griffin loses another fight, you know what I'm saying?
Done. It's a wrap. He's gonna be on a smaller promotion most likely. So yeah, we go to the odds, and the odds are with Saldana minus about 135. Plus 115 for Griffin. So a slight dog again for me. My third dog to start out the card. So we'll see how I arrange my bets on these prelims. But so far of these 3, I do feel pretty good about William Knight, pretty good about Griffin, and Sasha Plaknikov is one I'm going to be crossing my fingers on.
It's like you said. I mean, all of these
They're all close.
up until the heavyweight fight. The heavyweight fight, I feel pretty confident about that. But then after that for a while, then it's still kind of like a toss up. Like this whole card.
Yeah, this whole card is definitely one that you're gonna have to bet cautiously if you are a bettor. If you're watching, a lot of these fights, I expect to go to decision as a fan as well. So because they're so closely matched and it's high stakes. So
yeah, this is fair. This is very fair.
And then Josh is saying he thought Griffin was going to beat Zalal. He's got to take this one. Has had some nice highlights, but none of them in the UFC. Yeah, it's kind of like the Andre Ewell disorder. Mr. Highlight is what Ewell was known as before the UFC, and the UFC hasn't happened, but eventually it does happen. We saw with Bruno Silva, those 3 losses in a row to really great competition. They faced JP Buys, this hyped up debutant who had all these finishes outside the UFC, an impressive contender series fight. And then what did Bruno Silva do as a plus 200 underdog? Now, Griffin is not a plus 200 underdog, but I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, just piggybacking off that, how about Polish Power? You know
exactly.
What I'm
saying? How about Marias, who just fought Mighty Mouse?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Boy.
Sterling seeing helicopters in the background.
Oh my God. That knee, that just like kind of opens your eyes to like how different the game of MMA could be if like knees to a grounded opponent were allowed in the UFC. I mean, that was vicious. Like fights would end.
Not only would fights end, and we'll get back into the fights. We're going to have Jack Shore and Hunter Azure next that we're breaking down. But not only would fights end, but I mean, results are literally going to be different because in the UFC, you could not have that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to disrespect Marias like this, but more likely than not, Mighty Mouse finds a way to win that fight. A fight where he literally is put unconscious there.
Yeah.
Either way, that was wild. Congrats to Marias. He just became a superstar. He had the tweet that said he was talking to Masvidal and talked about how one knee can change it all. And he had his knee that changed it all here because if he beats Mighty Mouse again, now all of a sudden he's in all these pound-for-pound discussions.
Yeah.
And,
for real, though.
But, back to the UFC here. We are 4 fights into the 15-fight card. And 30 minutes in, so we're gonna try to. I was thinking we were moving good, but I was wrong.
I thought we were doing good too.
Yeah, no, time flies by. But we'll have a few of these that we'll be able to get quickly. But yes, now we're getting to the whales. It won't let them post the whales flag. I'm sorry, MMA Wagers. That's not our decision. Hunter Azure versus Jack Shore, the Welsh Khabib. As I call him, because he kind of does the same things as Khabib with his wrestling and what he's trying to do. And kind of his mission overall is to put Welsh wrestling on the map. This is a really interesting fight here with Hunter Azure. Hunter Azure coming off a pretty good performance against Cole Smith until the last 3 minutes where he almost got choked out for 3 minutes. He gassed. Yeah. That's the second straight fight where Hunter Azure has gas. The fight before that against Bryan Kelleher, he ended up getting KO'd because of it. Looked good against Brad Katona. Really good wrestler who's started to fall in love with his striking a little bit too much and forget about his wrestling. And in this fight with Jack Shore, I just think Jack Shore is the bigger, better grappler. And he's going to be able to control Azure and kind of gas him out, get him tired. And then I like a Jack Shore submission in round 2 or round 3. So I think Jack Shore's submission right now is at plus 300. I love that price. Cole Smith almost had a rear naked choke on Hunter Azure, really almost had it. And I really do not rate Cole Smith at all. And I rate Jack Shore quite highly. I do think Hunter Azure is his biggest test to date. Aaron Phillips, was a 125er who came up. Nolene Hernandez is okay. But yeah, I like Jack Shore here, and I like a submission.
Well, we're back on the same team, man. I got Jack Shore all day in this, and obviously his grappling is the number one issue, but he also, his hands are all right. You know what I'm saying? He's got solid hands. He's not afraid to stand there, which makes the grappling even more scary because he's not just strictly one dimensional. You know what I'm saying? He can crack it. Like if you're just expecting the grappling, he can crack you with his hands too. I mean, obviously nothing devastating, but he can hit people. And it's just something to say when you're the one person representing Wales. You know what I'm saying? He's on a mission right now. He's running through people. I think he's gonna get maybe top 15, top 10 before he really starts having problems with people. He's got to fight someone. I don't think Hunter's takedown defense is quite up to stuff. His takedown defense and ability to sustain that takedown defense for a long period of time, like you said, is enough to handle what Jack Shore's bringing to the table.
Yeah. So, do you have a finish or?
Round three
Okay.
choke. I mean, and I got to pick rear naked choke, right? Because that's what he's doing to everybody. So
I mean, basically he's pinning you up, taking you down. He's got a good body lock takedown, and I think his top control should be good here. It's one of my more confident picks throughout this entire card, and I love the price. I think this is a parlay maker, -165. I really think I think it should be closer to 200 or better for Jack. So
considering how some of these other fights are, you know what I mean? I agree with that 110%.
Yeah. So I love that price, and he's going to be on my top line or second line of my bets overall. So Jack Shore submission +300 is another bet I like right off the bat. Also sprinkling a round 3 finish. I don't mind that. That's probably +1100. So, a couple of these bets. But overall, Jack Shore is here, and Wales is here to represent, man. I'm really excited for that. This is where we speed up the breakdown a little bit.
I feel that.
Jardis Donho, what the fuck are you doing here? You've been off for 4.5 years. I like to be really respectful of most fighters, but I don't know what he's doing here. He's fought for 4 years. He's been off for 4.5 years. He's 5-1-1. One of the fights he had, he put his hand down before getting kneed to get out of a knee against Joaquin Christensen, one of the worst UFC heavyweights ever to fight in the UFC. And then another fight, he had a very glancing groin shot that he ended up using to get out of the fight. So 5-1-1. I mean, maybe he's done some illegal substances over the last few years, so who knows what he's doing, but he's probably going to come. He looks like one of these heavyweights is going to come in jacked. So there is that. And Yorgan De Castro has shown that he doesn't really throw all that much. He just kind of stands there, and unless you're going to walk right into his kind of shovel hook, I just don't really know what to expect out of Yorgan either. This is just not a good fight. Not a fight I'm betting on either way. I'll take Yorgan De Castro. Hopefully it'll be done quick, but I don't know.
No, I think Jorgen's going to take his head off. You know what I'm saying? He should, but once again, it's heavyweight. Once again, Jorgen he hasn't fought the best competition in the world. So I think I feel confidently that Jorgen's going to take his head off. But once again, at heavyweight, let's get this over in the first round, fellas. You know what I'm saying? Either way, I'm okay with it. We got a long day of fights.
It's a long day of fights. This is definitely one where you can make your frittata, since this is going to be, right around brunch time. So, go ahead and just watch this one from the kitchen as you're cooking, because it's a -300 favorite for Jorgen. Also, I hate that price, but +250 still not enough for me to take Jardis Donho. I just don't know what he's doing here or who he knows, and how he's in the UFC after 4.5 years off. And it's just really weird fight. Whoever loses has to be cut before the end of the night. Just period.
I'm with that. I'll sign a petition for that. Yeah, I'll sign a petition for that.
Sign mychange.org. After this. Next fight here, we're at the prelims at 155. Ignacio Bahamondes taking on John McDessie. John McDessie is back. Had ACL surgery. Was off for about 9 months after taking on Francisco Trinaldo. took Francisco to a decision, but lost that decision. The thing about Makdessi is that he said he started training in February. So he'd been off for 9 months, and he said literally hadn't trained in those 9 months after ACL surgery, and then started training in February. Maybe he's doing a little bit of, playing it coy for an interview. I don't know what your kind of thoughts are on that initially, though.
He went to Cuba and got the stem cell stuff done. You know what I'm saying? He went to Cuba. He went south of the border and got that. I don't know. I mean, that sounds kind of sketchy. But I mean, he's had an up and down career. He doesn't really sound like someone who's really worried about climbing the ranks as he is about collecting his paychecks, at this point of his career. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, he's won 3 of his last 4. His losses are to Francisco Trinaldo in his last 4 losses are Francisco Trinaldo, Lando Veneta, Yancy Medeiros, and Donald Cerrone. So Donald Cerrone, I mean, it's like, and then his wins are not exactly notable either. They're over guys like Abel Trujillo. They're over guys like Ross Pearson at the end of his career, Jesus Pinedo. But Jesus Pinedo has gone on to have a couple wins since fighting him. And Makdessi, I mean, he's one of the least hit guys in the lightweight division. And he's not a huge lightweight, so I do believe he'll be able to get back into shape and make the weight pretty easily. And Ignacio Bahamondes is enormous, however. It's 5'8" versus 6'3". This guy is just huge. He's super green, though, and very hittable. That is definitely something I've noticed. He also, it's just one of these things where I'm just not really sure. I mean, Ignacio is so much bigger, but I mean, I think Makdessi is so much better from a technical perspective. And I do think Makdessi's used to fighting against guys who have longer reaches, bigger reaches than him. And I think he could possibly edge out a decision here. I'm leaning towards the experienced Makdessi here to come back and get a decision win over Bahamondes, who just is a little bit too green for my liking, still really young at 23 years old, and just, I don't know. I just kind of got a feeling that Makdessi springs the upset.
Yeah. And this is another one where it's like the veteran versus the upcoming prospect. But I'm gonna go with the veteran on this one, just because it's like you said. I mean, this isn't Medeski's first time fighting. I mean, I don't know if he's fought someone, 6'3", but this isn't his first rodeo against a tall kid. He's been fighting in the UFC forever. Like you said, he's lost to some pretty big name guys, and Ignacio's not one of those big name guys, not yet. You know what I'm saying? I could see him. I mean, like you said, he's going to be young, hungry coming into this fight. But I didn't necessarily see anything out of him that was like a showstopper. You know what I'm saying? Watching his fights, it's kind of, he's big, he's good, but there's nothing about him that makes me go, okay, that guy's the next big thing in the lightweight division. You know what I mean? He's not someone that can take out someone as experienced as Medeski. So I'm gonna go Makdessi with the decision. I just butchered his name like 4 times in a row, but that's okay.
Yeah, Makdessi. Yeah, you're just rushing through one syllable. But yeah, John Makdessi is a pretty decent dog, plus 165 dog, minus 190 for Ignacio Bahamondes in his UFC debut against one of his biggest tests to date. I just think those odds are way out of line.
I think easily his biggest test to date.
Yeah, I think that he should be a slight favorite at best. Makdessi coming off of that knee surgery is one of my biggest concerns here. Seeing what kind of shape he is in, we'll see on the weigh-ins. That's when I'll really invest more so. But yeah, we'll see. And we're over to the bantamweight division now. Women's bantamweight fight.
Oh boy,
this is a weird one because I really like Erin Blanchfield. I do not like the decision to take this fight. At 135, she's a flyweight. And I don't know why she's rushing taking a fight against a big bantamweight in Norma Dumont. Big bantamweight with some good hands, good Brazilian jiu-jitsu, good wrestling. I just think Norma, I'm going to keep it pretty short. I think Erin Blanchfield is very skilled, has a route to victory if she uses her grappling and gets in positions where she gets to initiate the grappling. But I just think Norma's too big, too physical, and it's just that's going to be a difference, and Norma's going to win a decision.
I hate to sound like an echo. I just don't know if Erin knows something that we don't know. If she sees something in her game that we don't see. Because once again, these female fights, especially earlier on the card, especially, watching their fights, there's things I like, things I don't like. But, like you said, Erin, her grappling's nice, but when you have to grapple against a bigger person, when you grapple, you want to be the bigger person. So it's just like, it doesn't seem, especially, Norma's coming out of Brazil. It doesn't seem good on paper. I don't know if Erin knows something that we don't know, but I'm also going Norma. I didn't spend a whole ton of time thinking about this fight, but
yeah, I didn't either. And I've had followed Erin. She does have a finish over Victoria Leonardo, who's in the UFC. So there is that. But yeah, I just think that it is. This is a case where size will matter. So yeah, just not going to cover that one for a super long time. Norma by decision. Norma's she's a pretty decent favorite, minus 255. I don't like that. Plus 210 for Erin Blanchfield. It's getting into that zone where I have to bet the dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just.
And you could bet her. She could totally win this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll just. This is one that I'm again not gonna overly invest in on a 15 fight card. Don't need to. Gets us to our second from the top on the prelims. Scott Holtzman taking on Matsurat Gamrot, and this is at 155. Gamrot came into UFC undefeated at 17-0. Was looking really, really good. Was on the end of a very close decision against Guram. Guram looked really, really good. I will admit that, but I do think Gamrot won it. Gamrot just didn't go to his wrestling quick enough. He trusted his stand-up a little bit too much at the beginning of the fight and ended up costing him in a close decision against a guy on short notice. So now he's facing Scott Holtzman. Scott Holtzman, is a big, tough, athletic guy, but he's also, getting up there. I believe he's 37 years old now. So, those weight cuts aren't getting easier. He's not getting that much sharper at this point, in my opinion, coming off a rough finish loss against Beneil Dariush. I really like Gamrot to rebound from that fight against Guram, get to his wrestling and grappling quicker. And I do think that he has the ability to get the finish, but, Scott Holtzman never been finished. So for me to say Gamrot to get that finish is kind of tough, but I think Gamrot just kind of cruises in this one a little bit. If I'm being honest, I think Scott Holtzman's best chance is to blitz him in the first round, get the finish, and Scott just doesn't have that kind of power that I've seen. So I like Gamrot, and I think that I'm going to take Gamrot by decision. I just can't take the finish.
Yeah, man. It's fine. Scott Holtzman, he's fought on. Yeah, he's definitely up there. He's fought on cards with one of my coaches before, so he's been around the game for a long time, and it's just tough because he's at the point of his career where he's not really. And he could totally shut me up right now, but he's not really showing anything new in his game. Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman is kind of who he is. You know what I mean? And Gamrot, he's young. He's motivated. He wants one of those top spots, but once again, I gotta go with the veteran on this. You know what I'm saying? Scott Holtzman. I'm going with the veteran. I'm going crazy, man. It's once again. Scott hasn't really beat anyone crazy.
No.
Oh, he hasn't beat anyone crazy at all. But he's lost some good guys. And Gamerot, he can come out, he can earn a lot of respect from me in this fight. If he goes out there and handles Holtzman, I'll appreciate it. But he was another person we're watching. I mean, obviously that record's very impressive, but I don't trust people who do impressive things outside the UFC and the lower tier promotions as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? I'm traumatized. I'm still dealing with past trauma from picking so many new people in so many UFC debuts, and
he's got 2 wins over Norman Park, and both, including a stoppage over Norman Park, and it's just like those are really solid wins for Gamrot. I mean, fair enough. We're gonna disagree again. Gamrot's fighting out of American Top Team right now as well. So yeah, you've got the plus 200 dog here and Scott Holtzman.
I needed one on this card. You know what I'm saying? I've been playing it too safe.
Yeah, minus 240 for Gamrot. I'm going chalk on this one. I'm fine with pairing up Gamrot, Jack Shore, and William Knight. I think that's a nice little 3-piece parlay I'll probably look into on this early prelim on the prelims. But we're to the final fight. The featured fight on the prelims on a 9-fight prelim card here. So we've had some 8-fight UFC full cards, and we have 9 fights on the prelim. Jim Miller taking on Joe Selecki. Joe Selecki, the lone survivor from Jimmo, it seems at this point.
Chris Weidman's over there now. Chris Weidman's training over there now.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, and he's also at Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu, as you said, in Delaware. Coming off of a really impressive rear naked choke victory of Austin Hubbard. That I definitely was wrong in. I had Austin Hubbard. I was really looking forward to that fight, and Selecki cashed as the slight dog. So looked really good. His UFC debut against Matt Weinman, wasn't able to get the finish, but completely controlled it. Looks to be pretty strong in the grappling realm, but going against, I think, one of the craftier, better grapplers in the division in Jim Miller. Jim Miller, now 37 years old, has been kind of having up and down. Wasn't able to initiate his top control, and then kind of survived to a decision against Vince Pichel, but he was on the short end of that. Lost the decision to Scott Holtzman. Got an armbar against Roosevelt Roberts. But yeah, I mean, and a quick guillotine against Clay Guida, and a quick rear naked choke against Jason Gonzalez. But besides these quick submission wins, he's not really showing a whole lot at this point. I don't think I rate Joe Selecki's grappling higher than that. I think Joe Selecki uses a little bit more stand-up than we've seen, and also initiates the grappling, uses top control when he does. I think it's going to just kind of look like the Vince Pichel kind of win, another just kind of physically dominating decision where Miller's just not able to get the fight where he needs it to win.
I mean, and Miller, he's been in the UFC since 2008, man. That's a long time to be in the UFC. But like you said, he's kind of like an opportunistic fighter. If you make a mistake, he can capitalize on it. I don't see Joe making a mistake that he can capitalize on right now. I mean, Joe, beside his slip up in A64 a little while back, I mean, Joe, he's been on his shit, man. I mean, he's training with a lot of really high level guys around here. He's looking good. I think I can't call Jim Miller to get finished. I can't, unless it's like by a KO artist. I can't pick Jim to get finished by submission, but I think Joe gets the decision on him. I think it comes kind of like you said, pretty easily. I mean, I shouldn't say easily, but as a judge,
kind of routine, kind of a routine type of, yeah. I agree with you. Joe Selecki, again, when we see that Jack Shore's only a minus 165, when I'm seeing if you like Saldana minus 135 or, Griffin at plus 115. Selecki's a minus 240. And that's just getting to a point where it's like, it makes you a little more nervous just because it's like, this is a huge test for Selecki. Again, Miller has been in there with everybody, but I'm going to go with Selecki. I'm going to trust it. But I think I trust Gamrot's minus 240 much more. I trust Selecki's minus 240 against Miller. So that's where you got to kind of look at those prices. That gets us to the end of the prelims. 9 fights in. I got a little bit of water left. Next time I'm going to bring a picture. But we keep learning as we go. 170 division to kick off our ABC card. And who better to kick off an ABC card than Platinum Mike Perry?
The man, the myth, the legend,
Papa Platinum.
Papa Platinum. You never know what he's gonna do. Yeah, that man is like wild, man. I love Platinum Mike Perry. I hate him at the same time, though.
Yeah. One thing is, as a bettor, I do not love Mike Perry.
I believe it.
Him at all. In this fight against Daniel Rodriguez, another guy who's kind of a wild man, has his own checkered past as well, I think. Both these guys have made some mistakes. They're both in their mid-30s. This could be the wildest fight of the night, or this could be the worst fight of the night. I don't really know.
Is Mike's girlfriend still cornering him?
I think that he's going to have an actual corner for this fight.
Okay.
At King's MMA now, or MMA Masters. I'm not positive. MMA Masters, sorry.
Okay.
So I would think he's going to have a corner, but it depends on what percentage of his purse he wants to keep, I guess.
He needs money for the taxes.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, Daniel Rodriguez is coming off a decision loss against Nicholas Dalby. He did win that fight, in my opinion, but he fought Nicholas Dalby close. But Mike Perry really just looked like he didn't even belong in the UFC against Tim Means. So, I mean, this is one of the fights on the card that I'm kind of having a tougher time getting a read on. But I'm going to go with Daniel Rodriguez. I just think Daniel Rodriguez is going to have the more crisp boxing, land the better shots. Grappling wise, I don't expect either one of these guys to use their grappling, but I think that Rodriguez could possibly use it to get some cage control, but it's not my most confident pick at all. I'll take Daniel Rodriguez. I think it's a decision, but I don't know. Mike Perry is. I mean, he's lost 7 fights. He was undefeated when he came into the UFC, wasn't he? I think so. Yep.
But with that being said, I mean, Mike Perry doesn't lose to the Daniel Rodriguez's of the world. I mean, he's good. He's a Mike Perry-esque fighter, but he needs more time at the top tier. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's fighters who can maintain their composure and keep a game plan the entire time against Mike Perry, who usually handle him. So I think Mike Perry. I feel like this is going to be a wild fight. Just looking at both these guys, like you said, I mean, it could be just like one of those things where no one throws anything the whole entire time. But just knowing these two guys' demeanor, I feel like it's going to turn into a firefight, and that's where Mike Perry shines. You know what I'm saying? It's in Daniel Rodriguez's best interest to keep it, boxing and just, keeping it nice and technical. But
I'm guessing that's for me. Sorry.
Boston Commons knows what's up with Mike Perry. With Platinum, baby.
So you got Papa Platinum by
I got Papa Platinum by second round KO. Late in the second round is when I think it's going to happen.
You got the dog in Platinum Perry. He's a plus 130 dog. We got Daniel Rodriguez coming back at minus 150. I'm not going to be betting it heavy on my end, but having Mike Perry as a dog is the only way I'd be betting him at this point anyways. It's an interesting one. Mike Perry has only lost to kind of top guys other than Tim Means, who Daniel Rodriguez has a win over.
Yeah, that's a big common opponent, but it's like the matchup kind of, because Tim Means is the kind of guy that would beat Mike Perry, but
Mike Perry is only 29 years old still. Daniel Rodriguez, 34, coming off that close loss where He let it be a little too close. Next fight here is at 115. It's between Nina Nunes. She is going to be going as Nina Nunes for this fight, and formerly Nina Ansaroff.
Yeah.
And she's taking on Mackenzie Dern. This is a really, really interesting fight at 115. I love when I can see a really good, proper female strawweight fight pairing. Nina Ansaroff, first fight since the pregnancy, first fight since she took on Tatiana Suarez, where Tatiana Suarez did kind of Tatiana Suarez her. So, but we haven't seen Tatiana Suarez for a little while with a neck injury. Mackenzie Dern, interestingly enough, has one takedown in her UFC career total. So she gets these girls to follow her to the ground. She pulls guard. I mean, she does whatever she can, and when it gets down there, she's able to get heel hooks, rear naked chokes, omoplatas. She's a legit grappler, but has no wrestling at all. And Nina Ansaroff is going to be working with American Top Team here as Mike Davis in her corner, Nina Nunes, sorry, not Nina Ansaroff. And just this is one for me that I think Nina is going to be able to back up, use her striking, stay off of the fence, use her movement, and just kind of frustrate Mackenzie Dern. I like a decision win for Nina Nunes here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like Mackenzie Dern. That's one of those really interesting cases where, I mean, outstanding Instagram account. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love Mackenzie Dern. Don't know how she's 10-1 though. You know what I'm saying? Like, just watching her fights is kind of
her black belt. She's 10-1.
I mean, no, and don't get me wrong. Like her submission, the real bet is she going to make weight for this fight? That's what I want to know. Is she gonna make weight, or is she going to come over? But it's one of those things where it's like on paper, it's like you look at Mackenzie Dern and you think, she should win. I think Nina's going to take her to her. I think she's fought better competition. She's performed better against better competition. And, Mackenzie Dern, she has a beautiful record, but her fight side, the way she fights and the people she's fought against doesn't really give you too much confidence in that 10-1 record. You know what I'm saying? Against someone with an uglier 10-6 record, but
10-6, but facing a lot of really good girls early on, and just overall, I mean, when you start out 1-3 and you keep fighting, that says something to me about you as a fighter.
And I mean, she has a win over Claudia Galde. I love Claudia, man.
It's stuff the takedowns against Claudia as well.
And if she can stuff takedowns against Claudia,
Mackenzie has no wrestling. She has no wrestling. Nina's not going to follow her to the ground. I think if Nina does, she'll be able to stay out of trouble long enough to get it back to the feet. And then that's where Mackenzie just kind of has to blitz with kind of some messy striking to end up getting and I just don't see that working. So I got Nina Nunes. I feel confident in the decision here. She's one of my more confident picks on a tough card where it's tough to have the confident picks. So we agree here. Nina is the slight favorite at -140. I love that line. I think that line's off again. Plus 120 for Mackenzie Dern. Again, this is just kind of one where I like the matchup for Nina Nunes. So, it's one of these that I think the striking, the overall level of competition, the experience cracks off to Nina Nunes. So next fight here is at 185. This is a weird fight. Sam Alvey's back down at 185. He's been fighting at 205 for his last 4 or 5 fights and not having a lot of luck up there. To be honest, he was 0-3-1 in his last 4.
Yeah.
We kind of know what Sam Alvey does. He backs up, throws that left hook, hopes to hit that left hook. If he doesn't hit that left hook, it's probably not going his way, really. Gas tank issues at 205. Definitely going to have gas tank issues doing the yo-yo, going back down to 185. And Julian Marquez lost 2 rounds to Maki Pitolo and then got a kind of buzzer beater choke to win against him. So, and that was after like 3 years off or something for Marquez. This is just one of these that I really don't know what to expect at all. I think it's really tough to say. I'm going to go with Marquez just because I don't think Marquez is going to be stopped by one of those left hands. He's got a really good chin. I think he's just going to have a little more activity. James Krause was originally having a game plan for Sam Alvey with Zach Cumming. Now in comes his Glory MMA teammate and Julian Marquez. So I just think that Marquez is going to be ready and has a good enough chin to withstand some of those shots, better gas tank. It's a close decision, but Marquez.
I feel, dude, yeah, I was looking at this and I'm just like, man, dude, because, you know, Sam Alvey isn't, once again, he's another guy. He's been around for a long time and he's not nearly, like his clout isn't nearly what it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Everyone kind of has the blueprint on how to deal with him. But, man, Marquez, you know, he's another guy. He came off super hype off the contender season. He's someone I've been watching specifically just because, you know, he's a middleweight. You know what I'm saying? He's getting a lot of love. And he's someone where it's just like, and, you know, like you said, he was coming off a multiple-year layoff in this past fight.
Yeah.
So I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. With that being said, I think I'm going to have to go with the vet again, man. I think I'm going to have to go. It's just because, like you said, Julian's last fight, you know, he had to pull that out of nowhere. And once again, that could be have a lot to do with the ring rust. But I think if Sam Alvey, if he gets out to a lead, which once again is kind of hard with his style to like get out to a lead, you know, backing up consistently. But if he does get out to a lead, I don't think he's going to let Julian sneak back in and take it away. So, yeah, I feel this is like a weird fight. But I'm also like strangely intrigued by it. Like I really want to see what happens in this fight.
It's as crossroads as you can get. You got a guy in Alvey. If he loses, he's out of the UFC. Probably already should be out of the UFC with all due respect.
Yeah.
And then Julian Marquez, if he wins this fight, the next fight is against somebody real tough. You know, and he's kind of on the rise after 3 years off after a nearly career-ending back injury. So it's interesting. We'll see. We disagree. You got Sam Alvey plus 165 dog. I do like that dog price on him. I think minus 190 on Marquez. No, thank you. That's crazy talk.
Especially for this kind of fight. It's just kind of like, and you know, I'd like to say this real quick. This is unfight related, but about 30 minutes into this video, we were on fight number 4. We've made up a ton of ground in the past 30 minutes.
Hey, you know what? Some of these fights just, you know, like how much are you guys say about Norma Dumont versus Aaron?
Not a lot. Not a lot, man.
You know, it's like Jim Miller versus Selecki. Like some of these fights, the matchup speaks for itself. So yeah, we are making some good time, you know. But I think we're covering what we need to. But we disagree. We have another disagreement here. You got Sam Alvey, I got Marquez. I think that after Marquez lost 2 rounds to Maki Pitolo,
it just makes me so nervous, man.
It's very quick turnaround too, so we don't know how he's going to respond to all that. But now these last 2 fights are very good. The co-main event is between Arnold Allen 16-1 and Sadiq Youssef 11-1. Featherweight prospects here. Arnold Allen, he just doesn't fight very much. He fights once a year. Fought once in 2020, once in 2019, or twice in 2019, once in 2018, once in 2017, once in 2016, once in 2015, twice in 2014. So I don't really get the activity level. And then the guys that Arnold Allen has beat: Nick Lentz, Gilbert Melendez, Jordan Rinaldi, Mads Burnell, Makwan Americani, which was a really close split decision that I don't think he won. Yeah. What do all those guys have in common? They're all just power grapplers with no stand-up at all, no speed, no real explosive dynamics to them. You know, and Arnold Allen has gotten a decision in all these fights, including against Gilbert Melendez, like a fight where he finally landed some shots. Still really never put him in any danger. Sadiq Youssef, on the other hand, the Africans are coming. 3 African champs right now.
Coming in hot.
Yeah, they coming in hot. And we got another one here in Sadiq Youssef. He lost to Luis Gomez by a slam back in Titan FC. And since then, he's looked really good. Fought on the Contender Series against Mike Davis in one of the most technical Contender Series bouts you're ever going to see. We've seen how good Mike Davis is now. And Sadiq Youssef really, kind of pieced him up a little bit. Gabriel Benitez, that was a really good war before Sadiq Youssef ended up putting him away. Andre Fili, that was a really close fight. But again, Andre Fili fights a lot of people really close. And it's just like one of those fights as a UFC fighter, you guys show me you can do. I really like Sadiq Youssef in this fight. I think Sadiq Youssef is just going to be quicker, crisper, cleaner, more powerful. He fights more regularly, more active, and just the Africans right now. It's a good time to be an African MMA fighter.
Dude, I tell you what, it's like a wave right now. You know what I'm saying? Just jump on the wave and just ride it all the way out. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like the activity level. So you always kind of want to go with the more active fighter, even though that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But he just has a little bit more of a rhythm, and it is kind of like, what can you do for me, like right now, kind of deal. And I like what you said about all the guys that were power grapplers, and that's not what Sadiq is. You know what I'm saying? He's an explosive guy. I mean, I don't want to like stereotype all Africans, but they're all pretty freaking explosive and ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
As well.
I mean, I think Arnold is kind of this reminds me of the matchup a couple weeks ago. What was the Brazilian guy who hadn't fought very often? He was fighting I can't remember their names, but they fought. It was a really active young guy on the come up fighting a guy who fought like once every couple of years, and it was
Luis Santos versus Grant Dawson.
Yes, exactly. I don't think this is going to be that close, but it's like on paper, it's kind of like a similar kind of matchup. I think Sadiq gets the decision in this one. I think he's just going to just outwork him.
Yep. Yeah, and Arnold Allen still fighting on TriStar. I don't know if TriStar really means anything at this point. Team Lloyd Irvin for Sadiq Youssef, the Nigerian. And just, he's looked really, really explosive. And I just think the difference is going to be striking volume overall. And just, I think there's a difference in the stand-up, and I think Sadiq is going to be able to keep the fight from getting to the ground, which is where Arnold Allen's going to need it to win the fight. So Arnold's shown he can win a ton of decisions. So getting a decision for Arnold Allen isn't out of line here, but I'm going to go with Sadiq Youssef.
But Sadiq, he's won a couple decisions too, so it's not like he's out of his comfort zone going all 15. So
exactly, yeah. And Sadiq is a minus 145 favorite. I don't mind that line.
Yeah.
I think this is a close fight. Plus 125 for Arnold Allen. I get it. I think this is going to be close. I'll be interested to see how they match up at weigh-ins. And we are cruising now, man.
We're on a roll, man.
Yeah. What can I say? I mean, like I think often the prelims are a little more interesting to break down than the main card. And I think this is just kind of one of those cases. Doesn't mean these main card fights won't be good, but there's just a little less to break down on some of these. So the main event is one of these that I just think it's all spelled out for you when you're reading about it. If you look up if you watch the last few fights on both these guys, any of the fights on Kevin Holland gets taken down.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Derek Brunson where he got taken down. He got taken down twice against Jacare. He got taken down 3 times against Darren Stewart. He got taken down twice against Brendan Allen. Got taken down twice against DiChirico, 3 times against Gerald Mearshart. Got taken down, I think, once or twice against Thiago Santos. So the Muay Thai specialist in Thiago Santos. It's just one of these things. Kevin Holland gets taken down, and He and Marvin Vettori has gotten takedowns in most of his fights. Has a really good significant strike differential, one of the best in the division. Doesn't get hit a lot, hits a lot, puts good pressure, has a good gas tank. What his game plan was against Darren Till, I can't imagine is going to be too different here against Kevin Holland. Now, speaking from the heart here, Kevin Holland, I would love to see him kind of come back and shut up all these people who 2 weeks ago were on his bandwagon completely, loved everything about him, voted him 2020 Fighter of the Year, and now don't want anything to do with him or upset with him. He's an idiot and all this. I do think that he's, coming into this fight focused, but the issues he has have been issues before the Brunson fight, and they were glaring issues in the Brunson fight. Leaves his hips exposed, gets taken down. I mean, he does have a very good jiu-jitsu black belt. He can be tricky on the ground, but against a guy like Vettori, I just see Vettori being able to control and grind it, control and grind, rinse and repeat. And I think it's going to be another 5-round decision for Vettori kind of doing what Brunson did, just a little bit better. But again, I think that Holland, I think Holland has the ability to stop anybody, has really long, good punches. If he can fight it at his range and, he doesn't cut a lot of weight, so the gas tank will be there. If he can, push Vettori a little bit, I don't think Vettori's this untouchable guy. It's just in this 4-fight win streak, the way he's been fighting, plus 38 strike differential, one fight plus 40, plus 40, plus 42. Like Vettori is just kind of in another realm now, and really does have a lot of confidence from that draw he got against Israel Adesanya, and things like that. I do think he's on his way back up and going to be a competitor, competing for a potential title, shot here at the end of 2021. And I think Darren Till would have been about as easy as Holland, but I do think Holland's maybe a slightly tougher out than Darren Till, just because of his ground experience and where he can hit strikes from, where he can kind of hit sweeps from and everything. And he's got good range. So I don't think this is as easy as everybody thinks it is. But at the same point, I just think if this fight goes how I've been looking at the tape, how I've been looking at the paper, how I view these two matching up, the short notice and everything else, I got to take Vettori. I just feel it's pretty secure pick on the card that doesn't have a lot of those.
No, man. I mean, and to put this in perspective, honestly, picking this fight makes me more nervous than when I was picking Francis versus Stipe. Because, I mean, the biggest thing about Kevin is, he's just so unpredictable, man. You know what I'm saying? Because he really could. I mean, at any point, even though he got his ass whooped in the Brunson fight, he didn't really get his ass whooped in the Brunson fight. Like, he just, wasn't doing what he needed to do to win the fight. You know what I mean? He could, at any point, come with a right hand out of nowhere and just, crack somebody. And so that part about Kevin Holland really scares me. I do think he needs to go down to welterweight. I do think he needs to take his counter wrestling more seriously because, Marvin Vettori, like you said, Derek Brunson couldn't take Stylebender down. Marvin Vettori took Stylebender down. So that's a pretty Marvin's not ranked higher than Derek Brunson, but to me, he's way scarier of a matchup than Derek Brunson is. You know what I mean? Just his mental approach to how he fights, the intensity he brings, and the fact that he can bring that intensity for 15 minutes. Kevin really, he scares me in this fight, especially because he's coming in with nothing to lose. Like, I feel like he was the one who had something to lose in the Derek Brunson fight.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of your big trademarks, one of the best things that happens to fighters is a loss. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it sounded like where immediately after the fight, he was like, I'm not going to stop talking, But it sounded like after he had some time to think about it, he was like, okay, I let people down. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about me. I let people down. So Kevin really scares me. A motivated Kevin Holland kind of scares me. Yeah. But with all that being said, I'm taking Marvin Vettori in this fight because I don't see how you can – right now, it's hard to pick against Marvin Vettori because He's hot, man. He's hot, man.
Yeah, he's really hot, and I mean, Kevin Holland just was. He's still at 5-1 in his last 6, but I do think Marvin Vettori would be the toughest of those guys they faced. And again, I mean, I went through the takedowns. He gets taken down. Vettori's going to get him down. I think Vettori can get him down in multiple rounds. So it'd be a great story, though. I'd love to see Kevin Holland come back and get this win, and just see all of a sudden all these people who are not a fan this week, all of a sudden next week they're huge fans of Kevin Holland again, and just like all this. So it's just a fickle world of MMA fandom. But yeah.
I mean, it's kind of everyone was talking about how scary Calm Francis is, right? Like that was the big meme the next day, how scary Calm Francis is. Imagine Kevin Holland, who talks a little bit less, like regular shit talking Kevin instead of extreme shit talking, like someone who focuses on the fight a little bit more. That could be a scary dude, man. I don't know though. He can show us on Saturday though.
Yeah. So Marvin Vettori minus 345 favorite. This is crazy. Plus 285 for Kevin Holland.
People flipped on this man quick.
He was a minus 200 favorite in his last fight. That's a 500 point swing.
People flipped on him quick.
Yeah, and they will flip on him quick again if he does otherwise. So, this gets us to the end of the card. We're just going to go ahead and recap through the 15 here in case anybody isn't. And, we're at an hour and 16 minutes. So, this is a tidy 15 fight card. But getting from the top, we got Impa Kasanganay at 170 taking on Sasha Palatnikov. Our first disagreement of the night, I have Palatnikov.
I have Impa.
Yep.
By decision.
And I got Palatnikov. I'm going to say, by late finish. So, I'm going to say that the weight cut is not the best thing in the world, and he's going to be one of these guys who's got to figure something out after this fight for sure.
Yeah.
205, Da-Un Young versus William Knight. I believe we're on the same side, but I have William Knight. I'm going to take William Knight for a decision, but I want to take a finish.
I have William Knight by knockout. As I was conflicted between the second and the third round. I think I'm going to take William Knight, second round KO.
All right. Fair enough. Next fight is at 145, Luis Saldana versus Jordan Griffin. I got Jordan Griffin vetting out a vetting vet.
Yeah, and I'm going with the young buck. Luis, don't let me down, please. Don't break my heart, please.
The young 30-year-old buck. Gotcha. Hey, 30 is
young MMA. He's young in MMA.
Yeah,
sort of, technically.
Yeah. All right. Well, next
he's younger
fight,
than Jordan.
Next fight at 135, Jack, the Welshman Shore taking on Hunter Azure. Jack Shore for me, submission, round 2.
Jack Shore, submission, round 3. I think I picked. No, I might have picked round 2. I think I'm doing round 3. Yeah.
All right. Next fight, 265. Heavyweights, Jorgen De Castro versus Jardis Donho. The last time I hope I have to say Jardis Donho. Jorgen De Castro, hopefully a finish, but I don't care.
Jorgen, round 1, decapitation. That's
Sweet. We can only hope. 155 division. This is our Strikers Delight. John McDessie taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. I got John McDessie out techniquing him, getting that decision. Taekwondo, baby.
Taekwondo, man.
Calf kicks. Lots of calf kicks on those skinny legs. Calf kicks, baby. Calf kicks get it done. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing and
right
they first
now.
got discovered in MMA. I don't know if you knew this, Brian, but calf kicks did not exist until Dustin Poirier calf kicked Conor. Didn't exist before. The calf was not even a body part until Dustin Poirier discovered it with those kicks.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm somewhat of an expert on the history of calf kicks because I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, and somehow every time he has an MMA person on, they talk about calf kicks, and he brings up the fact that Benson Henderson, every time, without fail, he brings up the fact that Benson Henderson was doing it back in the day, and no one thought anything of it. But yeah, I digress. Mac Desi. Mac Desi. I want to say Medeski so bad. Mac Desi. By decision.
All right. So that's another dog we agree on. Norma Dumont taking on Aaron Blanchfield at 135. Norma's just too big. Norma decision by out physically Aaron.
Yeah, I think Norma's gonna bully her away. Yeah, just be the bigger girl. They're both not super experienced. I mean, hey, Aaron, go prove us all wrong though.
Every time you say Aaron, I think you're talking to me, and I'm like, wait, what's? I'm
like, bro, I'm not fighting, man.
Okay, bro, I don't think I can beat Norma Dumont. I really don't.
I would pay to watch that.
I think she runs through me.
I would pay to watch that.
I would pay to have that happen to me. Scott Holtzman taking on Matsu Gamarut at 155. This is your Kennedy and Juku pick of the night. You got Scott Holtzman.
Let's go.
You're wild, man.
Come on, baby.
Gamarot. One of my most confident picks of the night is Gamarot here. One of my most confident picks was Carlos Uhlberg as well. So, take note.
Yeah, this is a little bit different than that one. I'm not nearly as confident in Holtzman as I was in that fight. I had a lot of confidence in that fight. I don't have a lot of confidence in this one, but I'm pulling for Holtzman. Let's go.
Yep.
Make me genius, please.
Next 155, Jim Miller versus Joe Selecki. We both got Joe Selecki here. Just gonna be able to out-survive the veteran. Main card, Mike Perry versus Daniel Rodriguez. We got both feel it's going to be a wild one. I got Daniel Rodriguez. You've got Mike Perry.
Platinum, baby.
Yep. I think I got Daniel. Both guys need it. Next one, Nina Nunes taking on Mackenzie Dern. I got Nina Nunes just being able to come up with the right game plan, use her full MMA skills. Takedowns won't be there for Mackenzie, who has one takedown in her UFC career. One.
That blows my mind. I can't believe she only has one takedown in her entire UFC career. That is wild.
Yeah. And then Zach with his name drops. You drop these names. Hot Sauce is a friend of the show, I guess, for Zach. Not a friend of mine. And Joe Selecki is a friend of the show. Everybody who's a friend of Zach's and Coffee and Garrett's is a friend of mine, but I have to pick against my friends at some points too. I just don't pick against Joe.
Except for Pooh Bear.
Yeah,
never picks against Pooh Bear.
I'm still waiting to do a card breakdown with Pooh Bear on it. So.
Hopefully soon, baby. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have some news soon. But we both got Nina here. Then we got the 185 matchup, Julian Marquez versus Sam Alvey. You got the veteran and Sam Alvey. I've got Julian Marquez. I think you got the wrong chat here because if you're calling me a shit friend, that is the wrong person. I am the best friend you'll ever have. I will tell you the truth. I got Julian. And it's towards the end of the breakdown here, an hour and 22 in. I'm just messing with you, Zach. Joe Selecki, I can't take Holtzman over Gamrot, but Bryan's got him, so there we go. Co-main event. Sadiq Youssef versus Arnold Allen, a lot of people's co-main event or people's main event, I should say. I got Sadiq Youssef, just sharper striker, better gas tank, better rhythm. You also?
I also have Sadiq. I think he's just going to outwork him. And if he gets a finish, that'd be gravy. I think he definitely does enough to at least get a decision, though.
If either one of these guys get a finish to the moon, Alice.
But I mean, Arnold won't fight again until next year. So you talked.
If Arnold Allen gets a finish, he may never fight again. He may retire. Finally got a finish. I'm done. Like you can't
off into the sunset. Hell yeah.
The decision machine.
And then, baby.
Yeah, Kevin Holland, Marvin Vettori. Neither one of us are gonna be trying to reinvent the wheel here. It's Marvin Vettori, kind of all day.
I know. I mean, honestly, I'd like to take Kevin just to stir up some controversy, but then I can't. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that would destroy my credentials as a fight picker.
Yeah, and we all know that it's you're really taking it serious. And I was listening, and then we'll sign off here. But I was listening to a few and discuss how fighters becoming analysts almost has always led to them becoming more methodical in the cage and more, and it's just like, so you doing these breakdowns, I know you're picking up on the things as well. So, I just think that this is only going to help you moving forward as we get your next announcement. And whenever that is, and as you get ready for your next fight camp, I got people waiting in the wings who are going to be able to pick up the slack when you need a couple weeks off. We got the harder self. She's got Holland. I like I said, I'd love to see it, and it's just one of these where I've just got to go just a little bit more with, I just got to go with a little bit more with my brain here. My heart is picking Holland, but the brain is going to take over here, and we'll see. But I just think that Vettori's striking differential, his overall grappling, his takedowns and everything, it's just going to be a little bit too much for Kevin Holland, who has some just serious kind of technical issues he's got correct with his takedown defense that I don't think, but maybe the focus is there more and he rebounds. And what a story it'd be if he's able to come and win a decision or get a finish better yet against Vettori. So it would make for a super memorable fight. We need more of these. You were quiet tonight. You're being a little shy there. Quiet bunny. But when she came, she with the heat. So
she brought the heat, man. Yeah. But I might have to do a personal bet with you on that last fight. You know what I'm saying? I might have to get a personal bet.
One thing's for sure. We'll be back here next Thursday night, breaking down whatever the next main event is next week. I losing track in 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks' time. I will be down in Jacksonville for UFC 251.
That card is going to be so cool.
I cannot wait to be in there. It is. I had to be part of the first card back. There just wasn't a choice. Triple title fight. It's going to be amazing. But we got one more card next week. Before that, we've got the Bellator fights taking place tomorrow night on Showtime at 9 o'clock is main card. 6 o'clock is the prelims on YouTube. Next Thursday, bringing the fire as we are every Thursday. Absolutely. And Bryan, where can people find you, follow you as you have maybe some potential exciting news as we keep going?
You guys can find me, and it's very easy. It's very easy. It's very easy. It's Pooh, wait for it, _bear, another _, nothing crazy, battle 68. Pooh _bear _battle 68. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right?
Absolutely ridiculous. Thank you again, Bunny. We appreciate it as always. You joining us, and we're glad that we can put on the show here. We have a great time doing it. And you can find me at Aaron the Dog Guy on Instagram, at Aaron Jay Brooks on Twitter. Half the time I'm tweeting about movies, half the time I'm tweeting about MMA. It is the same person. Those are just my two kind of main passions in life, and I kind of split it between those. But check out our Bellator breakdown here on the channel with Coffee and KOs. We also broke down the full Bellator light heavyweight Grand Prix as well. Those are both on the channel here as well. For Bryan, for Aaron the Dog, for Bunny, our official other in the comments, for Coffee and KOs. Thanks, everybody. Keep taking care of each other out there, and let's go make that money. Have a good one. Peace.